Hi, welcome to Cubs and Culture for 10/14, 2018. We're up to All the King's Men, which is a movie from 1949. It's a political drama. It tells the story of a Southern lawyer who, because he whips up popular sentiments against the elite, i.e. a popularist, seizes power of a state, and then eventually he gets corrupted through womanizing, backdoor dealing, etc. And then at the end, he's assassinated by his decision in the Capitol. It's loosely modeled on Huey P. Long, who was a governor of Louisiana, and a senator from Louisiana who was assassinated in 1935 by a physician in the courthouse, and that's probably the thing that comes across the most. It's a very, very good film. I really, really like it. One of the things I think the film does very, very well is even though it's modeled on Long, it's probably easiest to read Stark as the character's name. Stark as just a stand-in for Long. The screenplay does enough to dislodge it from any specific political context, so you don't ever hear the word Republican or Democrat in a film, and you never hear Louisiana. You just hear this state, and the geography is messed up. There's just like the city and then the rural part of the state, and so because of that, it's really easy to read other popular lists into the film, and because of that, it's rewatching it today, it strikes me how eerily similar Stark is to aspects of Trump and Trumpianism, and so that's mostly what we'll be focusing on. I just want to quickly talk about a few other things. This is an incredibly well acted film. It was nominated for 3 actings. Crawford plays Stark, and he's absolutely memorizing. McCranebridge is very, very good as sort of the tough as nail, hard-written aide, and John Ireland is very, very good as sort of the tortured, soulful, sort of the emotional center of the story as a journalist has been following him around. The movie is quickly paced, it's well-directed, it's stylish. The screenplay handles all the various threads very well. Now, I referred to this already, just so you understand where I'm coming from. Populism as a term is sort of, it's basically like mob rule. It means different things in different contexts, but it's basically a style of politics or a form of politics which emphasizes the common man against the elite, the great masses against the powerful. So it's all sort of like demagoguery, and a great champion will rise and combat the elite against you, for you. And so it's often paired with it's really easy to pair this stuff with either in like leftist form. It becomes the elite. The issue is what's the people and what's the elite. In like leftist forms, the elite are banks and economic institutions and businesses and the economic system, and the people are everyone other outside of the rich and the landed and everything like that. Where in the sort of the rightist version, the people are specifically a subset of people by race or religion, and the elite are the intelligentsia, the political system, certain religious groups like Jewish people, in like neo-Nazis context in the 1930s. Long himself, who was the Starkest sort of the stand-in, he was a Democratic politician, and so the populism in the film is probably easiest to read as an economic populism, which is leftist. But the thing is, it's so sort of devoid of specificity that it's really easy to get just a rightist version of it as well. And I really, really like that. aspect of this film, that Stark, he just sort of stands in for every single person who whips up the passions of the people against a subset of the populace, the elite, and how that is utterly dangerous, because at the end of this film, Stark is just a corrupt fat cat, and he's just living off the public heat, and he's abusing the rule of law to protect his family and friends, especially his son. Now, the other thing I want to talk about real fast is I'm going to call this film film noir, and its shooting style is very, very stylish. Now, it's not the most noirish of noirs, and I'm not even sure if it's usually classified as noir. Film noir is not a genre; it's a style of filmmaking. The name literally means black film, so it's any film in which 50% of the space is black. And it's a style that was prominent in Hollywood in the 40s and 50s, and a lot of the things are or crime stories or political thrillers, and I really like film noir. It sort of has they're dark morality tales, and this film absolutely fits it, and it's absolutely great on that regard. So let me bring up the trailer and some clips. Okay, so as the trailer is playing, let me just say this right up front about the parallels I see. Stark, the character, and Long were, for lack of a better term, authentic popularists. Trump is not, because at one point in this movie, Stark is a dirt poor, struggling lawyer. Trump was born with a silver spoon, and he was born on third base, and he thinks he hit a home run because someone hit him in a sac fly. Anyway, the other thing, going real quickly while this is playing, see how stylish and noirish it is. Noir as a style, it's sort of the crime 1950s stuff. So there's like fedoras and hard-bitten detectives and everything. And I guess, strictly speaking, this movie isn't usually included in the noir canon, but I find it very noirish because of sort of the amorality of Stark, and then it has this political intrigue and everything like that. And I just really, really like this movie, and rewatching it today, it struck me how mesmerizing the cult of personality is around Stark, the character. Though his fall from grace is palatable, and it, like the ending, like the movie is so good. At one point, you were like, I would vote for Stark, and then at the end you're like, oh, thank God he got killed, because he was a horrible, horrible man, and everything like that. And so the scenes I'm going to show you are all going to be speeches, and pay attention to the crowds, and it's the cult of personality around him, because that's really what I want to focus on, because this movie, again, it's popularism. It breaks out in this country like every 20, 25 years. You got Trump, you got Wallace, you got Long. There's others, of course. And it's all sort of creepy. And so the others. Okay, so this is the first scene, and he's mostly drunk here. And he's okay. So in the plot of the movie, he became a prominent lawyer because he correctly called out a group of small government officials screwing over a school that led to the death of 12 kids. And so he's being used here by the two political machine to split the rural vote. And so he's been given this bad speech, as in it's not a good speech. It's too much policy. Like it's good policy, but bad politics. And so he's going to throw it away here. And this is really the moment of the film where he becomes the demagogue and everything like that. And if you follow what he's saying, and this is where it becomes particularly Trumpian in terms of it, he's going to say, you don't need me to tell you what is wrong with this state. You know yourself. And he's going to end up identifying with them by him having a background of being a hick. And it's the word, the use of the word hick. It's, I mean, it's, in this case, it's about poverty and economics, but it's really easy, because I mean, at least in my mind, hick isn't just associated with being poor. It's specifically associated with being, it's like cracker or white trash, where cracker was also a term that's mostly about class initially, but then it got transferred into race. And so if you notice something, this is obviously a very southern state, but there's absolutely no people of color in this thing. It's all white, as poor white folks, and that was true of Long. And so again, so this is one of the things I think this film does very, very well, is he's not just an economic popularist. He's a popularist that you can read left or right wing politics into relatively easily. And there's Crawford at this point is absolutely memorizing, and this is the point where you're like, yeah, well, yeah, he seems like a great guy to vote for, which is sort of the real danger of popularists and demagogues like this, is they are charismatic. It's just they use that charisma to do absolutely horrific things. And so and this is sort of the thing with demagoguery and everything like that, is it's real easy to move from I will fight for you and you will fight for me to go commit violence. And so the movie eventually has him turn violent. He probably has a person killed. He definitely has people beat up and everything like that. And it's at this point in the story where that starts to happen, and that kind of like the implicit thing that that this demagoguery stuff was always in him, and it sort of just loosened up and freed because of alcohol. Like his inhibitions got lowered. And here's the thing about demagoguery and populism like this: it's really easy once you whip people up into this frenzy to turn on people. So he just turned on his backer, and so his backer is now out of the circle of trust. So therefore, he's part of the elite, and I am, as your popular champion, is going to destroy him. And so if we move here, this is also where it feels very noirish because of the juxtaposition of the newspaper and the black film and the torches and everything overlay like that. And it's Crawford is just absolutely memorizing in this sequence, and how everything like that. And then this performance is where he sort of like seems like a good guy, maybe a little bit too forceful, but he doesn't seem bad. But it's the use of like the torches, and you feel the evil coming through eventually. And again, talking about like I'll nail them up. Okay, now like I was saying, this scene actually happens earlier than that rally, but I wanted to say this because another thing that happens in popularism is the use of religion. And if you notice here, these are the, as I was saying, these are the friends of the parents of the children, and they're who got killed, and he is absolutely soaking up their adoration. So they're because it's at the funeral, and because we sinned against God for not listening to him, because he happened to be right about the schoolhouse being a total job fuck up by the other political leaders. That use of religion is also implicit in the film, and that's probably the scene that comes the most. Now this is the speech at the end, and he was impeached because of basically just corruption charges and everything like that. And so he whipped up the mob again. And this is the sequence that feels the most Trumpian to me, because it's not the use of the word win and won. Because if you look at the signs in the background, you'll see things, win with Stark, Willie will win. And then it wasn't found that he was not guilty, or he was not removed from office. It's specifically the use of the word at the end. Willie had, the governor has won. And so because of that, it feels very, very Trumpian because of because that is the one refrain that Trump and Trumpianists use again and again and again. That it's all about winning and winning at all costs, and that's sort of the fall from grace. As he ends up being like a pugilist and ends up wanting to do everything he can to win. And by win, he means humiliate and destroy his opponents. I also have to say, the people, I like that the use of the statement from him, the people's will is the law of the land, or law of the state, I can't quite remember, behind him is a great, great touch, because no, the law of the land, I mean, it depends what you mean by the people's will. It should be more like the law of the land is the people's will, not the people's will is the law of the land. And it's at this point where he's just absolutely corrupt and horrifying and terrorizing, because he's no longer a governor. He's a leader of a mob, and he got out of charges were correct. And I'm not going to show it, but that's a great, great movie. But he gets killed at the end because it's a morality play. So that's going to be it for Cubs and Culture. Okay, as I was saying, at the end he ends up getting killed, as the sort of the tone of the movie requires, because he's utterly corrupt, and everything like that. And so it becomes sort of this dark morality play about the wages of sin are death. It's one of the stronger Best Pictures, and rewatching it today, it's unfortunately highly, highly relevant. Anyway, that's going to be it for Cubs and Culture. Have a good day.